Good morning. We have the Kings Mountain Gateway Trail 10 miler this morning. Here's the gear I'm going to use for today. Racing shoes, going to be the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3. Injinji socks, my lightest weight Injinji socks. It's hard to see the shorts here, but they're the North Face BTN shorts, the split short variety. I brought a couple of goos, probably going to take one before the race, maybe take one during. I'm going to bring the Super Comp trainers as my warm-up shoes. Of course, a Reckless Running singlet because they're the best. Wish I could bring this guy with me. He kind of decided to get in the shot as we came downstairs, but he had a long day yesterday, so he should be able to chill out wherever he wants. Right, Con? Yeah, I think so. So you'll have to excuse my bad head because I literally just woke up. It's race morning, but I've got a lot of time before the race starts because it's a fairly late start. It's an 8:45 start, which is a little bit later than I want to start on a day that's going to be as warm as today. It's looking like 62, 63 degrees, possibility of rain. I would almost rather there be rain in that temperature. I'm just kind of looking at the course here. On Strava from the satellite map, it looks like it is going to be mostly a dirt road, but from what I can tell from the images taken from far above, it's going to be fairly groomed. I've heard there might be some gravelly parts, like short gravel hills. I think it starts on asphalt. Looks to be mainly an out and back, except for a little split at the end in the last quarter mile. The middle 3.5 to 4 miles looks pretty flat. Might be able to pick up some speed there, but the first 3 miles and last 3 miles are where all the hills are, and it looks like there are some decent elevation grades there, and the first 3 miles are more of a rolling downhill trend, which means of course the last 3 miles are going to be a rolling uphill trend. I think the 9th mile has about 157 feet of elevation gain or something. So that's going to feel great toward the end of a race. Yeah, I'm actually seeing some segments on the race here. Yeah, so yeah, Creek to Crest is one of them. It's a 1.01 mile segment. That's 157 feet of elevation gain. And that is from mile 8 to mile 9. So, not that I'm going to go segment hunting, but I'll just be prepared for some challenges at the end of the course. And I think there will be some other fast runners there, so there will be some competition to keep me on my toes. Not sure what pace I'm going to try and shoot for in this 10 miler because of the surface and because of the terrain, the hills, but it won't be my regular 10-mile pace, that's for sure. I'm here at the race site, and I drove through some heavy rain to get here. It looks like it's kind of alternating between light rain and heavy rain, and there's a lot of wind too, and the weather's coming from that direction, so it doesn't look like it's clearing up, but we might get lucky. The wind is more what I'm concerned about, just because that's what takes the most of my energy out of me. Gonna do a warm-up here after I get my packet. So I just did a short warm-up run out on probably the first mile plus of the course, out and back, maybe 1.25 miles out and back. So I got to see the first mile plus of the course and the last mile plus of the course, and even in that short space there's going to be some stout climbs. As far as the surface, everything from paved greenway to finely crushed gravel to really coarse gravel to some almost, I wouldn't say muddy, but kind of sandy mud just from where the rain has gathered. I'm not too worried about that, just a few puddles here and there. But with the softness of the surface after it raining and just the unpaved nature of it and how the hills are, this is definitely not going to be a race for pace. It'll be a race for place, if anything. So my plan is to try and ignore some of the other fast guys early on and hope the race kind of takes its toll on them and kind of set in for an effort that I can handle for a little over an hour.
And it's going to be hard on some of the steep hills in the beginning. It'll be even harder because those hills will be worse at the end. But the settling in is going to be the mantra for the first 10 or 15 minutes. So we'll see what happens. It looks like the rain is letting up. I would almost rather it still rains a little bit because it's just going to get warmer and possibly humid now. But it's a good thing I checked in early right when they open, because there's a decent line for packet pickup now. And I don't want to have to worry about doing that when I'm getting all my last bathroom stops out and just generally getting myself psyched up. So we'll see you after the race. Just finished, and I got second overall by about 20 seconds. That was tough. Lots of elevation, lots of steep hills. Steep uphills and downhills, and the soft surface takes it out of you too. I think I finished in just over 66 minutes. If the course is accurate, then that comes out to about a 6:37, because I was like 66:10. However, GPS always reads wonky on the trail surfaces or tree line surfaces, so GPS says like 9:85, which would be a 6:43 pace, and I've run marathons faster than that on several occasions, but it was almost felt like walking some of those hills. It was just a shuffle up some of them. The winner, he did great. He was just pacing off me for about 7 miles. I could tell he was holding back. He made his move with about 2 3/4 miles left to go. He did well, and I'm happy to bring home second, actually. I'm gonna try and do a cool down run, and yeah, maybe get something to eat. So yeah, it was a bit ugly out there. Most of the mud is dried and caked on now, but yeah, just kind of that wet, soft surface. Shoes did fine though. I mean, definitely still a road shoe course, but yeah, it was a bit ugly. I think it's gonna be a chicken Philly day. So I'm here at the Cherokee Grill, which is about a 1/4 mile from the Kings Mountain Gateway Trail where the race was. And I just figured while I'm waiting on my chicken Philly, I'd go ahead and talk a little bit more about the race. So yeah, I settled in for that, kind of 1 hour-ish effort, knowing it wasn't going to be what I normally would do on a 10-mile race. And the pack that was with me kind of strung out pretty quickly, except for one guy, Chad. He was the one who would eventually win the race. And I could kind of tell what was going to happen pretty early on. For the first couple miles, it was evident he was just going to kind of ride on my shoulder and pace off of me. After the first hills, then once we got to the flat part, as I was settling in, I would consciously, even back off on the pace and, open up, give room to pass and everything, just to kind of, one, monitor my own effort level, but also see what he was going to do. And it was evident he was purposefully staying right on my shoulder, and he was going to wait to make his move. So I was determined not to work too hard, and I guess neither was he. It was about 7.3 miles when he made his move. It was on one of the big uphill sections coming back on the inbound part, and he just kind of started pulling ahead slowly. Never really got out of view. I think by the end of the race, the gap was about 20 seconds between us, but over the course of 2.5 miles or so, that's kind of a steady increase, and he was wise to hold back on his energy. I thought I was holding back. I guess he was holding back a little bit more. It was still a pretty close race. He had the better day than me, but it was kind of between the two of us, from the start. As far as the race in general, it's a great event. It's $20 for a 10-miler, and you can't beat that. And I think if you wanted the t-shirt, it's $25. So I said, what the heck, I'm gonna get the t-shirt too. The 5K was the same price, so if you're gonna come and do the event, do the 10-miler. It's an out and back, and it's not a bad trail. But if you don't like out and backs, I understand that. It is cool to kind of see everyone else in the race as you're coming back in and they're on their way out. Give a little cheer on. and nice people down here in Kings Mountain. So I don't know if I'll come back and do it again next year, but I recommend it to anyone in the greater Charlotte, North Carolina area. So yeah, that is my recap for the Kings Mountain Gateway Trail 10 miler. See you on the next one. Oh, and that next one will be next week. I'll be doing the craft beer half marathon in Charlotte, which will be longer than this race, but it will be undoubtedly faster. So I'm looking forward to that one, and hopefully we'll have some friends there to run with. All right, see ya.
Oh yeah, lunchtime.